You're about to make a mistake that will destroy your Subaru engine. Maybe you've already made it. Maybe you make it every single week without realizing it. This isn't some obscure technical error that only affects a few people. This is a mistake that millions of Subaru owners make on a regular basis. It's so common, so seemingly harmless that nobody even thinks about it, but it's silently destroying engines, creating carbon buildup, causing oil consumption, accelerating wear, and eventually leading to catastrophic failure that costs thousands to fix. I've seen perfectly good Subaru engines ruined by this mistake. Engines with only 80,000 or 90,000 miles that should have another 150,000 miles left in them, destroyed because the owner kept making this one critical error. And here's the worst part. When the engine finally fails, the owner has no idea what they did wrong. They blame Subaru. They call it typical Subaru problems. They say the engine was poorly designed, but the truth? They killed it themselves with this one repeated mistake. Today, I'm exposing exactly what this mistake is, why it's so devastating to Subaru engines specifically, how to know if you've already done the damage, and most importantly, how to stop doing it before it costs you thousands. Whether you drive a Forester, Outback, WRX, Crosstrek, Impreza, Legacy, or any other Subaru, if you're making this mistake, your engine's days are numbered. Stop it now, before it's too late. Let's get into it. The mistake: letting your engine idle for extended periods. Here it is, the mistake that's destroying Subaru engines everywhere. Letting your engine idle for extended periods of time, especially when cold. I can already hear the objections. But I'm just warming it up. It's cold outside. I need to defrost my windows. I'm just sitting here for a few minutes. What's the harm? The harm is massive, and it's cumulative. And by the time you realize the damage, it's already done. Let me explain exactly why this is so catastrophic for Subaru engines specifically. Why extended idling destroys Subaru engines. The incomplete combustion problem. When your engine idles, especially when cold, combustion is inefficient and incomplete. The engine computer richens the fuel mixture to help with cold running. It dumps extra fuel into the cylinders. But at idle, there's not enough airflow and heat to burn all that fuel completely. What happens to the unburned fuel? Several terrible things. Some of it washes down the cylinder walls, stripping away the protective oil film. Without that oil film, you get metal-on-metal contact between piston rings and cylinder walls. This accelerates wear. Some of it gets past the piston rings and contaminates your oil. Fuel in your oil dilutes it and reduces its protective properties. Your oil change interval becomes meaningless because the oil is degraded long before you hit the mileage limit. Some of it creates carbon deposits on intake valves, piston tops, and combustion chambers. This carbon reduces engine efficiency, causes hot spots that lead to detonation, and in severe cases can cause valve damage. The Boxer engine layout makes it worse. Subaru's horizontally opposed Boxer engine is particularly vulnerable to idle damage. In a traditional vertical engine, gravity helps oil drain back into the pan, while also keeping some oil on critical surfaces. In a Boxer engine, the cylinders are horizontal. When you're idling, especially for long periods, oil distribution is less effective. The oil that does reach the cylinder walls is more likely to be washed away by excess fuel because it doesn't have gravity helping keep it in place. This means more wear during extended idle periods than you'd get in a conventional engine design. The direct injection problem. Modern Subarus use direct injection. Fuel sprays directly into the combustion chamber, bypassing the intake valves completely. In a traditional port injection engine, fuel washes over the intake valves and helps keep them clean. With direct injection, nothing cleans those valves. Blow-by gases from the crankcase deposit oil vapor on the valves. During normal driving at operating temperature, most of this burns off. But during extended idling, especially when cold, the valves never get hot enough to burn off these deposits. Carbon accumulates rapidly. I've seen Subaru intake valves completely choked with carbon by 60,000 miles due to excessive idling. The engine runs rough, loses power, and gets terrible fuel economy. Professional valve cleaning costs $600 to $1,200. The moisture and condensation issue. Cold engines produce water vapor as a byproduct of combustion. When the engine reaches full operating temperature, this moisture evaporates and exits through the PCV system and exhaust. But when you idle for extended periods without actually driving and getting the engine fully hot, that moisture accumulates in your oil, creating sludge and accelerating bearing wear, in your exhaust system, causing rust from the inside out, in your engine, causing corrosion on internal components. Subarus are particularly vulnerable to exhaust system rust due to their design. Extended idling accelerates this dramatically. The turbocharger damage for turbo models. If you have a turbocharged Subaru, extended idling creates a specific problem: oil coking in the turbo. At idle, the turbo isn't spinning fast with lots of airflow cooling it, but it's still generating heat. Oil sitting in the hot turbo bearing starts to cook and form carbon deposits. Do this repeatedly over time, and you'll clog the turbo's oil passages. The bearings starve for oil and fail. Turbo replacement, $2,000 to $3,500. What counts as extended idling? You might be wondering, how long is too long? Here's the guideline: 30 to 60 seconds of idling when starting. Acceptable. This gives oil time to circulate before you drive. 2 to 5 minutes of idling. Getting problematic. This is where damage starts accumulating. 10+ minutes of idling. Destructive. You're actively damaging your engine. 30+ minutes of idling regularly. Catastrophic. You will destroy your engine prematurely. Common scenarios where people make this mistake: winter warm-up, starting the car and letting it idle for 10 to 15 minutes to warm up the interior and defrost windows, waiting for someone, sitting in a parking lot with the engine running for 20 to 30 minutes while waiting for someone to finish shopping, drive-thrus in traffic, sitting in a long drive-through line or stuck in heavy traffic for extended periods, working from your car, running the engine to use the heater or AC while working on a laptop or making phone calls, remote start abuse, using remote start, then getting distracted and leaving the car idling for 20+ minutes before actually driving. All of these are damaging your engine. The real-world damage timeline. Let me show you what this damage looks like over time. First, 30,000 miles of regular extended idling. Carbon deposits start forming on intake valves. You won't notice symptoms yet, but they're building up. Oil starts getting contaminated with fuel and moisture faster than normal. Cylinder wall wear accelerates, but it's not measurable yet. 30,000 to 60,000 miles. Carbon buildup becomes significant. You might notice rough idle, slight hesitation during acceleration. Check engine light for misfire codes. Reduced fuel economy by 1 to 2 miles per gallon. Oil analysis would show elevated fuel dilution and wear metals. 60,000 to 100,000 miles. Carbon buildup is severe. Intake valves are heavily restricted. Oil consumption starts as piston rings lose their sealing ability from accelerated wear. You're now adding a quart of oil every 1,000 to 2,000 miles. Performance is noticeably down. Fuel economy is 3 to 4 miles per gallon worse than it should be. 100,000+ miles. If you've been idling excessively the entire time, you now have severe oil consumption, quart every 500 to 1,000 miles, low compression from carbon and ring wear, possible head gasket issues from overheating due to carbon buildup, failed emissions tests, major engine repair or replacement needed, all because you let your engine idle too much. How to know if you've already done the damage. Here are the warning signs that extended idling has already damaged your engine. Oil consumption. If you're adding oil between changes, especially more than a quart every 3,000 miles, you've got ring wear likely accelerated by idling damage. Rough idle. If your engine shakes or vibrates at idle, carbon buildup on valves is a likely cause. Hesitation or stumble. If you feel hesitation when accelerating from a stop, carbon deposits are interfering with airflow. Reduced fuel economy. If your fuel economy has dropped noticeably over time without explanation, carbon buildup and incomplete combustion are likely culprits. Check engine light for misfires. P0300 to P0304 codes indicate misfires, often caused by carbon-fouled valves or spark plugs. Failed emissions test. High hydrocarbon readings mean incomplete combustion from carbon buildup. Black or sooty exhaust. Visible soot means you're running rich and not burning fuel completely, often from carbon deposits changing combustion characteristics. If you're experiencing multiple symptoms from this list, extended idling has likely already caused damage. How to stop making this mistake? The solution is simple, but requires changing your habits. Stop the extended warm-up idling. In winter, start your car and let it idle for only 30 to 60 seconds. Then, drive gently. Keep RPMs below 3,000 and avoid hard acceleration. The engine will warm up much faster while driving than while idling. Use your seat heaters and heated steering wheel for immediate warmth instead of waiting for the engine to heat the cabin. Modern Subarus are designed to be driven within seconds of starting, even in freezing weather. Don't sit idling for long periods. If you're waiting for someone for more than 2 minutes, turn off the engine. In drive-thrus, if the line isn't moving and you'll be sitting for 5+ minutes, turn it off. In traffic jams, if you're completely stopped for more than a couple minutes, consider shutting off. Use remote start correctly. If you have remote start, use it only 5 to 10 minutes before you actually plan to leave. Don't remote start your car and then get distracted for 20 minutes before going outside. Set a phone timer when you remote start so you don't forget about it. Drive it properly after starting. The best way to warm up your Subaru is to drive it gently. After 30 to 60 seconds of idling, put it in gear and drive at moderate speeds. Keep acceleration gentle and RPMs low until the temperature gauge reaches normal. This warms up the engine, transmission, and all fluids much more effectively than idling. Take longer trips when possible. If your daily routine involves lots of short trips with idling at each stop, try to combine them. One 20-minute trip with minimal idling is infinitely better than 4 5-minute trips with idling at each location. How to undo the damage if caught early. If you've been idling excessively but haven't yet destroyed your engine, there are ways to mitigate the damage. Carbon cleaning service. Get a professional intake valve cleaning every 60,000 miles if you've been idling excessively. This involves removing the intake manifold and walnut blasting the valves to remove carbon. Cost $600 to $1,200, but it can restore lost performance and prevent further damage. More frequent oil changes. If you idle frequently, cut your oil change interval in half. Change at 3,000 miles instead of 6,000. This prevents fuel and moisture contamination from accumulating and causing damage. Italian tune-up. Once a week, take your Subaru on a spirited highway drive. Get the engine fully hot. Run it at higher RPMs, 4,000 to 5,000, under load. This helps burn off carbon deposits before they harden. Fuel system cleaner. Use a quality fuel system cleaner like Chevron Techron or BG44K every 5,000 miles. This helps prevent carbon buildup on injectors and combustion chambers. Switch to high-quality synthetic oil. Use a premium synthetic oil that resists fuel dilution better. Brands like Mobil 1, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum handle fuel contamination better than cheaper oils. Consider a catch can. For direct injection Subaru, install an oil catch can. This captures oil vapor before it reaches the intake valve, dramatically reducing carbon accumulation. Cost $200 to $400 installed, but prevents thousands in future valve cleaning costs. Special considerations for different models. Turbocharged models, WRX STI any turbo. Extended idling is even worse for you because of oil coking in the turbo. Never idle for more than 2 to 3 minutes. After any period of idling, Drive gently for a minute or two before shutting off to cool the turbo properly. CVT transmission model. Extended idling with a CVT keeps the transmission fluid circulating without actually getting hot enough to evaporate moisture. This accelerates CVT fluid degradation. Change your CVT fluid every 50,000 miles instead of 60,000 if you idle frequently. High mileage Subaru, 150,000 plus miles. Older engines are more vulnerable to idle damage because seals and rings are already worn. Be extra strict about avoiding extended idling. Monitor oil consumption closely and address any increase immediately. The bottom line: extended idling is destroying Subaru engines. It causes incomplete combustion, fuel dilution of oil, carbon buildup, moisture accumulation, and accelerated wear. Subaru's boxer engine design makes it particularly vulnerable to this type of damage. Most owners don't realize they're doing it. They think they're being careful by warming up the engine. They think sitting with the engine running is harmless. It's not. It's one of the most damaging things you can do. The solution is simple. Idle for only 30 to 60 seconds after starting, then drive gently until warm. Never let your engine idle for more than 2 to 3 minutes. Turn off the engine if you're waiting for more than a couple minutes. Drive your Subaru instead of idling it. That's what it was designed for. Your engine can last 200,000 plus miles, but only if you stop killing it with excessive idling. Make the change today, before it's too late. If you found this video helpful, be sure to watch this next video as we're sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.